Namaskar everyone. Welcome to the Saraswati Sangam Project Eminent Scholar Lecture Series. It is our absolute honor to have Shri Shantanu Gupta Ji as our eminent speaker today. But before I introduce our speaker, I want to share a little bit about the Saraswati Sangam Project. The Saraswati Sangam Project is a center for excellence dedicated to advancing and supporting research and dissemination of scientific inquiry grounded in Vedic knowledge. TISP has several threads of activities to serve its mission. We have some original content we create and publicize on the TISP YouTube channel. Please search on Saraswati Sangam on YouTube. We also support others' efforts, which is very crucial to our mission, such as Prachyam documentaries, AKTK projects, and Itihas Leadership Academy, to name a few. TISP confers awards to recognize contributions by eminent scholars, as well as offers research scholarships, plus supports Gurukuls in India in various parts, supporting Acharyas' very grassroots research and work. We, a couple of years ago, started a writing competition and mentor program to support and promote youth in their efforts towards supporting their training and career pursuits that is empowered in our ancient heritage. So several of our mentors that engage with these mentees support the program. Today, we are honored to have Shri Shantanu Gupta Ji as our eminent scholar lecture series speaker. Shri Shantanu Gupta Ji is an Indian author, TV panelist, TEDx speaker, and founder of the Ramayana School. He is the biographer of the Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath Ji's 3 books, which is famously known as the Yogi Trilogy. Shri Shantanu Ji is by training an engineer with management education and policy and politics, where he's contributed in creating content with focus on Indian policy, Indian progress towards education. And today we are privileged to confer the 2024 TISP Eminent Scholar Award on Shri Shantanu Ji for recognizing his contributions to advance ancient Vedic knowledge through storytelling and narrative building to inspire next generation of Bharatiya youth, awareness of the vast knowledge heritage of India. Shri Shantanu Ji is going to talk about becoming a published author for creating a Bharatiya narrative, which is extremely important because knowing is one, but disseminating and training and motivating others is really the need of the hour. And so we are delighted to learn and hear from Shri Shantanu Ji today.
So I'll start with my journey, and that will also cover my writing journey and lessons I learned from my last 10 books. 9th book, the 10th one is yet to be launched. It will be launched next week. So 10 are completed. This is me in college. This is not so relevant. I pulled slides which I made for some other purpose. Yeah, this was kind of my first book, if I can so to say. Though this was not exactly a book, this was a paper presentation, but they published it formally, so it became a book. So when we call anything a book, when it has a ISBN number, right? I think the full form should be International Standard Book Number. I think that should be the full form, right? I'll come to that, right? And I wrote one more book, Man Ki Baat. I wrote one more book, Uttar Pradesh Vikas Ki Pratiksha Mein, in Hindi. And then I wrote this book, which made me an author, right? I was writing before, but no one considered me an author then. But people started calling me author after this book. I think there was a luck involved, and maybe my apt selection of the topic, because that time he became the chief minister. There were a lot of people were intrigued about him. People wanted to know him, that what's behind this saffron robe. And this book came at the right time with a very catchy title, Bloomsbury, which publishes Harry Potter. So they have a good circulation. He himself launched it. So all the things worked in the favor. I'm sure a lot of you know Dr. David Frawley, Bamadev Shastri. If you see this tiny thing here, he has written the foreword for the book, right? This is the book. Yeah. So all the elements combined together, and because this was my first popular book, so I did like everything possible to make this book a success, right? So all then worked. So yeah, that's that. And then this book came in multiple languages, right? So this is the same book in multiple languages. Some of the languages use the same cover, some of the languages change the cover, but it's the same book, same content. In fact, this poster is a little limited. Now it's been almost in 13 languages. The Marathi given to Devenji. Yeah, I started signing the book. This is the first time I started signing my book at the bookstores, right? So then I realized, okay, what are the niceties of when you become an author or established author, right? Then came my second very famous book, Bharatiya Janata Party, Past, Present, and Future. In fact, this is my most seminal work, right? In fact, more seminal than my most popular book, right? Why? Because this is, first of all, this is a fat book. This is like this book is 40,000, 45,000 words book. So in book, you talk the unit of the book by the number of words, not by the number of pages. Because number of pages can change based on the size of the book and the font size and the spacing, right? But the number of words will never change, whatever you can do, right? Number of pages can change based on the formatting. So this book, this book has almost how many? Almost 100,000 words. And it became a curriculum or a reference book in many colleges and universities, in fact, outside India. So that's why it's my most seminal book. And this covers a large part of Indian history. So basically, this book talks about Indian history after 1847 or 1857, the revolution, the 1857, how the right-wing ideology developed after that. And to my mind, BJP, the current BJP, is the manifestation of years and years of right-wing movements. It can be Arya Samaj movement, it can be RSS, it can be Hindu Mahasabha, it can be Janasangh, it can be cow protest movements, it can be various other movements. But the political manifestation, everything today become a BJP. So in this 400 book, the BJP particularly only 150 pages. A lot of people tell me that in a book which is titled BJP, BJP is not even half of the book, right? So 60% of the book is basically the thought of BJP or the right-wing thought, so to say. Right-wing, I'm not a big fan of the word right-wing, but it's so easy to, I'm just using it for the ease of communication, right? Okay. And yeah, so this became a bestseller. For us, the author, Amazon charts became almost like the Sensex or the share market for the financial people, right? So we track the Amazon charts that closely. So in airports to Amazon, it did very good. Yeah, this became a curriculum in a college in Indonesia also. Okay. It took me to multiple literature festivals. Yeah, that's also an important part of the book, that marketing the book. It gave me TEDx speaker. I went to multiple colleges. Yeah. So why I'm showing you all of this, I'm showing you, I'm trying to get a charm around book writing, right? That book writing is a smart thing. Yeah, really get a book in your hand. Because I'll tell you various elements of the book, right? If you have a book in hand, I'll ask you to identify that in your book, whatever. Get a normal reading book that you like, right? And we will start with the session. We'll call it What is a Book, right? So that you'll appreciate a book far more than you do usually. Okay. So anyone wants to answer me? What is a book? Okay. Maybe then I'll ask them a simpler question, right? So basically, let me answer it. Hopefully by the end of the session, they'll start speaking to me. So why I'm asking what is a book? Because so that you can say why you will write it, right? Okay. A book is a collection of, yeah, okay. Aritra doesn't want to speak to me, but want to chat with me at least. So thank you. A book is a collection of stories, maybe fiction, non-fiction. Okay. It's a collection of some content. The purpose may be different. Purpose may be entertainment, or purpose may be information, right? I'm not saying information is not entertainment. Information can be entertainment for someone, but largely we, in a normal parlance, we say fiction is for entertainment and non-fiction is for knowledge, right? That's a basic classification of a book, right? And that becomes your first deciding point what you're going to write. So what are the types of books? In chat or otherwise, just tell me what are the types of books. If you speak to me, I'll be far more happy. But even otherwise, if you chat also, that's fine. What are the types of book? One, Aritra has already written, fiction and non-fiction, right? I'm sure you all appreciate what is a fiction, what is a non-fiction. What is this book? Fiction or non-fiction? Fiction or non-fiction? Chat.
Non-fiction.
Non-fiction. Thank you, Ultra. Yeah, it's a non-fiction. Non-fiction is basically you are writing, which is you're writing something which is already there, right? You're documenting a phenomena, a person, or a place, or a happening, or an event. You're documenting that, right? That's a non-fiction. And if you are storyfying, if you are writing a story based on some characters which never happened, it's not that every non-fiction has to be Harry Potter or Alice in Wonderland. No, it can be a normal story which happens in real life, but the characters are imaginary, right? Then it makes a non-fiction. So that's the first departure point. Whenever you start a book, you will tell yourself that what I'm going to write. Am I going to write a non-fiction or a fiction? A biography or a travel log or an incident or a political commentary or something like Harry Potter, right? So that's there. So whenever you're deciding, if I'm your mentor, if I'm your publisher also, I'm saying, which category are you in? Are you writing fiction or non-fiction? Because as soon as you go to a publisher, normally the departments are very different, right? You will be catered by different people. So non-fiction team is a separate team. Fiction team is a separate team, right? Yeah, because in non-fiction you'll get political people, scientists, like in fiction you have storytellers, all of them, right? So that's the first point that you have to decide once you start writing a book or thinking of writing a book, that are you going to write a fiction or a non-fiction? That's clear, right? Okay. Then the second difference, what is the second difference? Look at the screen and tell me. I've already given you a hint. What is the second type of book, right? When you say what are the categories or types of the books, right? What is here the type depicted in this picture? In which language you are going to write the book, right? That's also that your primary language. Yeah, thank you, Aritra. Your primary language will be your vernacular language or English, right? And there'll be pros and cons for both. Maybe which language you are good at, right? That'll be for sure your primary language, right? And then you can get it translated in different languages, right? But mind you, even if you want, and also the market, English is a bigger market in a lot of geographies. In India also, English is a bigger market. In many you'll be surprised to know India is the second largest market of English books in the world, right? Not America is number one for sure, but not UK is not number two, Australia is not number two, New Zealand and South Africa are not number two, even Singapore is not number two. India is because of the sheer population of India also, but the size of English readers also sizable in India. So that's a good thing to hear, right? So let's say you want to cater to this big English market, but you yourself are not very good in English. आप खुद English में बहुत अच्छे नहीं हैं. Even then you can attempt. So language should not be a barrier. Lot say मेरी तो English अच्छी नहीं, I don't speak good English, I can't write good English. How can I write English thing? You write in Hindi and get it translated. You have to add some resources, right? You need not know the language to write in that language, right? You should know the content. You should be good with the language generally, whichever language you are. So, but don't feel a bottleneck that मेरी English अच्छी नहीं है और मेरी Hindi अच्छी नहीं है. I'm not a good English speaker or not a good Hindi speaker. That's why I'm not writing in that language. That should not be your bottleneck, right? Because you can always get it translated. Okay. So the languages, right? That's again, these are two categories: trade books and academic books, right? Academic books are like a curriculum books, right? I'm writing the maths curriculum book. I'm writing the science curriculum book for grade 5, right? Or I'm writing a book will be a prescription book for the history honors, right? Or the classical history, or the ancient history, or the European history, right? Those are academic books. This is like a trade book, which you can pick up in a store, which can be a casual reading. It can be, so the good thing is a trade book, they can be academic books also, right? So let's say someone want to design a course at 10 contemporary political personalities of India. This can be a very good reference book because he's one of the prominent personalities of Indian political scene, right? But this cannot be a course book per se, right? But Yogi Adityanath cannot be a course. A political theory can be a course, right? A political speeches can be a course. Being political being a course. But one person cannot be a course in himself, right? So, but these books are generally called trade books. Why I am giving you this terminology? So that when you start writing the book, finally you have to publish it, you have to market it. So you should know the space before attempting the book. So you will, when you talk to anyone in publishing industry, you'll sound far more smarter. Okay, now what are the genres of the book? What are the genres of the book? So I'm sure you must have all bought books on Amazon, right? Whichever country you are. When you say the book list, you have these art categories: art and film, biography, business, children, computing, craft, so many. See, religion, it ends with law. Under these also there are subcategories, right? These are nothing but the genres of the book. That also you have to decide that what genre you're going to write. Not only fiction, I'm writing political fiction, I'm writing historical fiction, I'm writing about yoga, I'm writing about X, I'm writing about Y, right? I'm writing a actor's biography, I'm writing a sports biography, right? Everything is very different, right? And the decision can be your own interest in the topic, right? And also your access also. Let's say if I don't have access to him, I can't write much about him, right? So you have to see, you have to be practical also, right? You can't just think that I'll write about maybe Joe Biden, but I don't have access to him. So maybe you can still write, you can write to the secondary sources, but they'll not be the best thing available, right? So yeah. Now let me tell you some famous genres, right? Anthology. Anthology is just a collection of work by different writers, right? Normally used in the terms of short stories. Self-help books, very common category. It's like how to lose weight, how to earn more money, how to be successful. Even the Ramayana, Mahabharata books, some of them, let's say Ramayana for families, Ramayana for business, right? Basically, which is guiding you for do something better in life, in whatever way. These are called self-help book, a very big category, a very big category. And lot of these people who became famous, they personally became famous. The authors which are famous, like let's say the monk who sold his Ferrari, Robin Sharma, right? The authors become very famous because they get far more speaking opportunities, right? So self-help is a big category, but a tough category also because there's a huge competition. Everybody is writing self-help book. A lot of people are giving gyan in the market, right? But it's a big category to write if you think you have a understanding of a particular field. Exam prep book. Oh my God. Exam prep book. I feel so jealous about them. You know why? Whenever I see my book ranking, let's say my book ranking is 21. Out of the about 20 books, half of the 10 of the books are exam prep. I can't compete with them, man. Because exam prep are bought by like millions of people, right? Because if you have to do GRE, there are 3 books you have to buy. If you have to book for GMAT, you have to, even for local Indian exams, right? They are bought in millions, right? Versus for me to sell this million book, like I have to work very hard. Versus exam prep book. So exam prep book are envy for any author, right? Because they hate them. Because I don't need them. Maybe my kids will need them at some point. But they supersede your ranking very quickly, right? Because the masses, because a lot of Amazon ranking is based on the sales of the book, right? But again, very popular book if you want to earn money. Exam prep books can be a very good source if your book become a hit, right? So that's about exam prep. Biographies, very common. Biography can be of a politician, of a sports person, of some other famous person. Very popular category or genre of books or biographies. Graphic books. I am doing a graphic book. In fact, this is a book I've not yet launched. Right, you're the first people who are seeing this book. 101 Reasons Why I'll Vote for Modi. Right, these are graphic books which are depicted like this, which is in dialogue forms. Right, we all know a lot of graphic books. Right. So, but again, a very important category. So much so there are separate festivals around them. Like there's a very famous festival, Comic Con, right, which is only around comics. Right. Okay. Dictionary, encyclopedia. I'm sure you understand that genre. Important genre. Normally not done by a single author. It's done by the company itself. Okay. Now let me come to the format of the book. Let me come to the format of the book. Right. Do you understand what is the difference in these two books? Formatting wise, how they appear, how they are produced. What is the major difference? It may sound trivial, but it has a huge importance in the author market. The difference between these two books, format wise, not content wise. Don't see their cover. Don't see their cover, but what is the major difference in the format? Okay, the hardcover, very good. So hardcover and paperback. And now this is like you will find, how does it matter? Just the cover change, right? How does it matter? But in authors' lives matter a lot. Your book will come in hardback only when you are arrived author, right? Why? Because hardcovers are expensive books. In Indian parlance, it adds almost 200, 300 rupees, even more, in fact, even more. So a paperback will be 300, 400, a hardback will be 700, 800, right? So you have to be very famous for people to spend 300, 400 extra for you just to have a better cover, right? Because the content is the same, right? So that's why hard cover is like a premium covering, a premier book, right? So that's why hardcovers are important. So yeah, and the pricing changes with the hardcover and paperback. You see, when you buy a book in Amazon, it shows you paperback, hardcover, and Kindle. That's an audiobook. These are my other two formats, which are called digital formats. Kindle is one. Earlier, Kindle was only read in the Kindle device. Now you can download the Kindle app and read the Kindle books, right? Popular in fiction category more, non-fiction also. In India, it's not hugely popular, but again, 10 to 15% of sales do happen in non-fiction books also. Fiction, I think, must be more. And after this Kindle app, I think it must be even more. Kindle is not the only digital app. There are Apple Books, there are Ingram, there are Google Books, there are various other digital formats, right? Audiobooks, again, a very famous format that the whole book is in the audio of a person. These are not the digital robotic voices. These are people who really record their voices. And at times, there are some audiobooks where different characters are speaking. So if it's a female voice, there will be female voice. If it's a male voice, there will be male voice. If it's a kid's voice, there will be kid's voice, right? So yeah, so that way. It's like if you're hearing the audio of a video, right? Almost that. They do expressions, all of that, right? So that's also fun. At least for non-fiction, right? Non-fiction can be fun, and a lot of audiobooks are also coming. This book is also available in audio form. Okay, now what are the elements of the book, right? The book is not only like a book, there are a lot of other elements to a book, right? Okay, what are the front cover? Simple thing, front cover. Why the front cover is so important? Why the front cover is so important? Front cover is so important because this is what is visible when it's in the library, right? People will see this. Front cover and title are so very important for it's almost like a title of a movie, right? Your own name, right? Initial marketing is only through, because they will not go through the book, right? Or the word of mouth will also only come after the initial sales, right? So that's why on the bookshelf, on the shop bookstore, your cover page becomes supremely important, right? And then the back cover. Back cover is normally the blurb of the book, so that they quickly, without going through the book, they can see what the book is about. Book title, again, in Amazon you search by book titles, and SEO and Google you search by book titles. So you can, a lot of people, this publisher suggests you the name which are a very SEO'd word. Let's say I'm writing about a phenomena. They will say this phenomena, let's say in Indian Puranic space, if you're write about Vedas, very popular these days. A lot of people are searching about this, right? So at times, based on what people want to read, you may customize your title. If your title has a little fungibility, right? So that's a title is very, very important, because that will come in search of a lot of digital, because these days digital sales is different than digital books. Digital sales means buying a product on Amazon, right? It's very, very high then versus the buying a book on the store, a physical store, right? That's why your title becomes very important. The keyword in the title, the keyword which is searched a lot, should be the part of your title in the same genre. Okay. Subtitle. So let's say my book is The Monk Who Became Chief Minister, the definitive biography of Yogi Adityanath. That's like a subtitle. My second book on him, The Monk Who Transformed Uttar Pradesh, that's the title. How Yogi Adityanath changed UP Wala Bhaiya abuse to badge of honor, right? This is like a subtitle, right? So books have titles and a subtitle. Okay. Publisher, very, very important, because publisher is very important for everyone, for the new authors all the more, who will publish a book. How can you publish a book, right? Your content is ready, you are liking your content, every author likes their content, but again, who will publish it, right? So let's say in this book, the publisher is Garuda. In this book, publisher is Bloomsbury. The famous is the logo, famous Bloomsbury, right? So pick a book and identify a publisher of the book, right? Spine is very important for us, but very important for book also. spine. Normally, it has the information, name of the book, name of the publisher, name of the author. What if you're rejected by the big publishers, right? So, spine of the book, right? Why it's important? Very logical reason. Why the spine is important? You see my library? How can I pick the book if I don't know? Otherwise, see, if I keep all the books like this, how will I know which book to pick? Very simple part, but so important. This is one of those like key of the lock, right? Small thing, but your whole big mansion house is based on that small key. Branding is fine, but basically sorting, labeling, indexing, basically, right? In a library, you can find a book, right? Yeah, that's the basic purpose of a spine, but very important. Print price, whatever the price is printed, this book is $20 and 349 rupees, right? So print price, pricing also very important. At times, pricing based on 2-3 factors. One is the number of pages. Basically, what is the production cost, right? Let's say pricing is 3 times of the production cost, or 2 times of the production cost, or 4 times the production cost, right? So pricing is very important, because if the pricing is high, your sale volume will be low, right? So that's why there's a decent discussion and debate between the author and the publisher, what should be the appropriate pricing for that kind of. Children's book can be expensive, because parents are ready to spend more money on children, but the adult books cannot be super expensive, right? So you have to see, maybe your paper quality can be little poorer, no one minds, right? Because you are adults, you will make sure. But for children's book, the paper quality has to be supreme, right? All your non-toxic paper, non-toxic ink, all of them will be applied, versus the adults book, right? So you can reduce the price. So the pricing is an important topic in what kind of paper you're using, what kind of thickness, GSM, what kind of cover, hardbound, not hardbound, color, non-color, all of them comes in the print price. Forward by, you can get an endorsement by some person. As I told you, in this book, Mohandas Pai has written the forward. In this book, David Frawley has written the forward. In my recent Modi ji book, Bibek Debroy ji has written the forward. He's an economic advisor to Prime Minister. So becomes important. It's like a automatic endorsement. Oh my God, such a person is kind of endorsing the book, right? So that's also, so getting someone to write a forward or a cover testimonial is also important thing. Index, back index, table of content, important topic, right? So there is a difference between index, back index, and table of content, right? This is a table of content, right? Chapters, and these are the chapters, these are the page numbers, simple. So the back index becomes very, very important. What is the back index? What is the back index? This is the back index. So let's say I am saying Akhilesh Yadav. Akhilesh Yadav will appear in these many pages. Let's say I'm saying COVID. COVID will appear in these many pages. So let's say I only want to read the COVID parts in my book. I'll say, okay, it's in 147, 128, 98. I'll just go through those pages, right? Otherwise, there's no means in a physical book to go. So that becomes a very, very handy, especially for non-fiction books. In fiction, these things doesn't matter much, right? Because you don't look for a word or a phenomenon in a fiction book. But for non-fiction book, back indexes become very, very important for research purposes. Because for all the books, you don't want to read whole of the book every time, right? Because for research, you want to pick something from this book, something from that book. You have to reference, you want to substantiate your point. So you need sections of the book. So that's why the back index becomes very important. References. In non-fiction, you give references of the book. So let me find a reference. Oh, these are. So, yeah. You put a footnote and say, okay, I referred this note, right? And this becomes a legal matter many times. Let's say I'm kind of writing negative about a politician or a phenomena, right? I have to quote someone based on that report, based on that judgment, based on that theory, based on that article, right? I'm not saying that, that person is saying that. So, right? So in non-fiction book, for legal purposes also, and for academic rigor also, you are not creating facts out of thin air. You have a backing to represent your idea. That's why references become very important in non-fiction books, especially. Preface is like a synopsis, right? Like kind of introducing the book, that my book have 10 chapters in 3 parts. I introduce Yogi Adityanath's childhood, his monkhood, and his chief ministership, right? That's like a, and in these three parts, I'll tell this, right? Like a soup, like creating an appetite for the reading the whole thing, right? And telling you what this book entails, right? Acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is like saying thank you to a lot of people who helped you, maybe monetarily, maybe resource-wise, maybe who talked to you, who became your primary resources, a lot of your editors, your printers, your cover designers, a lot of people who did research for you, a lot of people who did data crunching for you. You want to thank them, and you thank your family for allowing you to write the book, right? Edition, again, very important. So if you see edition, I'm not able to see edition here. It's basically a combination of a year and a number. So yeah, see this? It says 2017, right? Why it's become important? Tell me. What is the importance of edition? If I'm referencing this book anywhere, I'll say, let's say if I say page number 93 of The Monk Who Became Chief Minister, right? Yeah. But as Ankita said in the chat, if I revise the book, maybe the 93 may become 95. I may add 2 more pages, right? I should say 93 page of 2017 edition, not 93 of this title. The title may remain the same, ISBN number remain the same, author will be the same, but the author has added 5 more chapters in future editions, right? So whenever you mention a book, at least historical books, right, you have to say which edition and which revision, right? So that's why it became important. Table of content already spoken about. Yeah. Okay, now let me tell you, if you want to write the book, what are the 3 steps? What are the 3 steps? First is writing. Obviously, you have to write the book. Second is publishing, and someone asked you a question, what if someone rejects you? Right? I think who asked? Ankita asked. And third is marketing the book, right? If I do a book session with you, what I'm doing? I'm marketing my book, right? So these are the 3 stages. And a lot of people think that my work is only writing. I don't know after that, it's not, it doesn't work like that, right? So let's say in each stage, there is particular expertise. It's almost like your own baby. So you have to make sure if you write, what's the fun? Your idea of the writing is so that the world can read it, right? So you have to make sure it reaches the publishing stage. Once it's published, you have to make sure it reaches everyone. So you have to market to many more people. Okay? Yeah. So let me
Can I
spend
take you one step back in asking why should one even bother to write?
Yeah.
Because the actual act of writing is a very tremendous investment of time and effort, and everything
Exactly.
else that you're describing about publishing and marketing, the whole process and workflow. But why should one even bother to write? What
Exactly.
motivates all
Yeah.
of us here to write?
That's, in fact, if they would have answered my question on what is a book, I would have done this discussion, because but the participants are not playing games. So let me answer the question. So why one should write, right? As I told you, book is a collection of information, a collection of content for the purpose of entertainment, for the purpose of informing, right? I will try to limit largely my content to non-fiction, because all of my 10 books are non-fiction. In fact, I envy non-fiction fiction authors, because I find it far more difficult, because that's like a series of lies, right? Like you have to concoct things, right? Versus you have to document existing phenomena, right? So fiction will go later. Fiction is needed anyway. We all need entertainment. We all need movies. Movies are based on some stories. We all need storybooks. We need imagination. For that, the fiction should be written. But let me come to the point of non-fiction. What if this book would not have been written? What if this book would not have been written, right? Let's take a very small example. It's not that if this book would not have been written, Yogi Adityanath would have not been a politician, or his brand would not have been the brand he is today without my book. That's not the case. My purpose of writing this book was, there was a lot of negative stories floating about him, half-baked, complete lies. A lot of people sitting in United States of America wrote a lot of things about him in newspapers. They never traveled to UP, let alone Delhi. Right? They never traveled to Delhi, to UP, to Lucknow, to Gorakhpur, but they wrote based on some like hearsay things, right? So I wanted to clarify all of this, a first-hand account that what is the life of this person. And in right wing, if I use the word, in nationalist literature, this is much needed. Because a lot of our content never got published. Right? Someone like Shashi Tharoor will say, right wing doesn't have intellectuals. Right? And my answer to that, no, right wing is intellectuals. A lot of your caucuses did not allow us to publish. Right? So that's why our books remained in manuscripts only. Or if they got published in some publication here and there, which never reached the bookshelf, which never reached the bookstores, which never reached Amazon, right? So that's why if you want to counter a fact, or counter a book, right? You can be very angry. You can do a public burning of that book. You can tear the book, but you will not gain much apart from some camera bites or some photo opportunities, right? Write a better book countering that, right? Nothing better than that, right? You can be very angry and throw the book, turn the book, burn the book. Okay, that's fine, but that will not achieve the purpose. So the basic purpose, as Aparnaji asked, to write that if you want to put your point out to the world, not to your WhatsApp group only, not to your college group only, not to your school group only. If you think you have a fundamental idea about something and you are fundamentally opposing an existing thought or adding to a new thought to existing thought, you need not always oppose, right? And you think the world can benefit of it, the best ways to document a book, because book then take various formats, right? Not only audio Kindle, it can become a movie, it can become a documentary, it can become a theater play, and the canvas will become far more bigger, right? Because movie is like a far more lazy thing to consume rather than a book, right? Book will like it's a little more serious effort versus sitting idly in nice AC 2.5 hour movie, right? So books can take a various formats, and your content, your data, your knowledge will be go super wide, right? So I think that's the basic purpose of writing a content, and also preserving knowledge for the future ages to come, right? I'm sure all of you must have followed the Ayodhya verdict, right? The Ram Janmabhoomi verdict, right? Ram Janmabhoomi verdict, the Hindu side won because of three four things. One is archaeology, one is the government gazettes, right? Lot of legal jurisprudence, and the fourth thing was a lot of documentation done by the travelers, the books by the travelers. Can you imagine the book written in 1600s, almost 400 years back, produced in the court of law in India and the modern court of law in New Delhi, right? That person might not have written in that capacity that my book will be evidence for the Hindu side. A Jesuit priest book became an evidence which was helpful for the Hindu side, because he went to it, they saw the Hindu practices happening there, right? So it can help us of documenting the facts. In fact, a lot of British documentation helped us, right? Because it's still the status quo, right? So this is the second purpose of the book. If you want to write the status quo so that the future generation cannot like, I'm missing a word, can dilute your existing history, right? So these are the two primary purposes, I think, in ideological narrations, that countering a thought. And also, if you are a book, you say, I can make a video also, I can write an article also, but the life is very small. A life of a video, of a life of a newspaper article is very small. And the referenceability is also weak. In a very scientific journal, nobody will quote a video. They can quote a video of a famous person, a speech, right? But they will quote rather than a transcript of a speech rather than the video itself, right? Because what if the YouTube link breaks? Like, it will become very shoddy, right? So the referenceability of your content becomes, so your book can spawn various other books, right? So that's why it's also very important, right? Aparnaji, does that largely answer your question?
Yes, that's a good start of the whole process.
Yeah. So that's why writing. This is my desk where I write. A lot of people ask me, what do you do? I say, I'm an author. They say, okay, you're fine. Author is fine, but what do you do? Right? So I'm a full-time. Then I have to say, I'm a full-time author, right? I write books, right? I write 4 or 5 hours a day. People start their work, I start writing my books. Or when you write, Aparnaji, you don't only write, you read a lot, right? You read about the phenomena because you synthesize that idea, right? So you have to read for a year and a half. You have to meet people, you have to take their interviews, you have to triangulate the information, and then formally something useful comes, which can be useful for the readers, right? So, and writing has various ways, right? And there is no standard way. I can tell you my way. My way of writing is, I first of all write the purpose of why I'm writing this book, which later become the preface of the book. after modification, right? That what will I'm going to write. Then I do largely the chaptering of the book. That what all will I write? Large set. Let's say in Yogi Adityanath, my chaptering is his early childhood, his college days, he taking sannyas, he becoming member of parliament, he becoming chief minister. These are the 7 categories I wanted to write. Now, based on that, I have to research all of this. For childhood, I have to go to meet his parents. They live like far away in Uttarakhand. So I have to spend 15, 20 days, a lot of money spend, live there and talk to them. Will they be ready to talk to me or not? I'm a stranger to them. Shall I ask someone to call them and tell about me that I'm like a decent guy, they can talk to me, right? I have to do all of that, right? And not only the parents, his friends, his classmates, his college mates, everyone around him, at least 50, 60 people around him. And they might be living in different parts of the world or different parts of the country at least, right? And everybody may not be comfortable talking on a phone, right? So you have to go and meet them. So there's expense involved to go and meet all of 50 people living in 50 cities, right? Or at least in 10, 15 cities, right? So that's like your primary research, right? So I do this structuring first and I also do the substructuring. So let's say it was the early days, when was he born, where was he born, how was his childhood like, how his schooling, was he a brilliant student, his school days. So I do sub chaptering also. And based on this chaptering and sub chaptering, I start researching. While researching, I take the audio of the conversations. I do a lot of secondary research also. What are informations available in other books and newspapers, videos, I can transcript, right? All of them, I keep placing them in my structure. So let's say if I want to talk to Aparna ji for, let's say Aparna ji is Yogi Adityanath's school friend, let's say, right? So I talk to Aparna ji and her transcript I'll put in the school wala part. Aparna ji spoke. I'll just type it, or maybe I'll hire an intern, so that for such things you need an intern who can take my voice and type it, because I can also type, but that'll take a lot of time, right? And an intern in the process will help you also. And also in the process, I train a lot of interns in the process of writing a book, right? So I keep filling this fill in the blanks of my structure. And all the links, let's say I get some more story of his school days on some newspaper link. I'll just put the link also there, right? So I put all the content in this structure, and then I sit on my desk and like shut myself, go to some place for 2-3 months and start writing. I don't do to and fro primary research and writing together. At times it happens after the whole book writing, I realize, oh, I missed that part. I have to meet that person again. I still do. It's not that I cannot go back to the field, but largely I try to finish all the primary and secondary research, and then I start writing, right? This is my way of writing, and keep referencing, right? People have various other ways of writing, right? So that's one. So that's about writing. Writing as a habit, reading, Purva Paksha, structure. Why I'm saying structure, I talked to you about. I normally encourage young people that make writing as a habit. It's a very spiritual process. It's a very focused process, right? Write different things. Start writing a diary. If you don't want to write daily, at least write on important occasions. If there is a festival in the house, you're going out for somewhere, if the important day of your life, your exam, you met an important person, right? About important phenomena in life, about your feelings, if you're feeling good, bad about something, do write. Writing, clarify your own thought. Because while I'm speaking, I can communicate a lot by my tone. I can sound angry, I can sound fast, I can sound humorous. But while writing, I have to be very, very clear, because I don't know who's reading that, right? And do write keeping in mind that someone else who doesn't even know you is reading it. Someone who does not understand your context, your country, your living condition, all of that, right? So you have to write everything. Versus while I'm speaking to Aparna ji, I know she knows something about me, right? But if I write for someone who doesn't know me, I have to write everything and everything, right? So keep writing, right? All of you together.
One question I had, because you described the amount of effort it takes as you prepare the content to write. How is it funded? As in, are you basically just doing your voluntary time and effort, or publisher helps you, or somebody invests in your project in some way?
Yeah, just park this question. When I come to publishing, I'll tell you this, right?
Okay.
Yeah, just park this question. It's a very important question. And this is also the question when people ask me, what do you do? I say author. They say, no, that's fine. What do you do? Meaning, what
Yes.
do they want to ask? How
Yeah.
do you earn your money?
Exactly.
Do books give you money? That can you make enough money through books? That's a better question, right? And also, doing the research, who funds you, right? Yeah. So I just let me complete the writing bit, right? So create writing as a habit. At least in a week, do write something at least 500 to 1000 words, which is not related to your work or studies, right? In work, anyway, you have to write email. In study, you have to write papers, exams, everything. But apart from that, do write something consequential, 500 to 1000 words. And that phenomena is happening around you, right? Write poems, right? And that'll make you a better human being. Take my word for this. And also start reading so that you start appreciating languages, how they put the phenomena. You also can write, you also know the phenomena, but see how beautifully that author has put that phenomena. The same phenomena that happens in your life also, right? So start reading good authors, right? And every time of authors, the content even which you don't like, do read that also. But it's a popular content. Popular means not popular, basically a good content. Because normally good contents go popular, always not the case, or at times shitty content also go popular. But try to find acclaimed, nice content, talk to different authors and say, do ask for recommendation for books. That, okay, in my age and my habit and my lifestyle, which book do you recommend, right? With your mentors, with your teachers, the people you talk to, your parents, keep taking recommendation. And to my understanding, do read at least 5 to 6 books a year. This is like the minimum I'm asking you. 5 to 6 books, which is like 2 months per book, which is like a very fair ask, right? And just do it for a month, guys. You will be a better person. And make a mix of, read some biographies, read some fiction, read some World War types, famous ones, read some political stuff, right? Read some stuff which you like, dance, self-help, culinary, right? Make a mix of 5, 6 books. Do read 5, 6 books. You will become a better speaker because you will quote from this book, you'll quote from this book, your vocabulary will increase, your expression will increase, your sentence formation will increase. I'm a far more better speaker because of just writing books. I'm still learning. I'm still a student of oratory. But again, right, I'm a far more better speaker just by writing the books. Not only you pick words, your conception about different things become very clear. Your thought process become very clear, right? Then you realize speaking is a far more easier process, which looks difficult. In speaking, the difficult part is facing someone, right? But you can correct yourself. If I say, oh, I mean that. I want to say that. I can say, oh, but in book I cannot do and I want to say that. I want to say that, right? You have to write. You have to write, right? So that way, speaking is far more easier a skill, which we feel is a difficult skill than writing, right? But when you do serious writing, which is going to be published, you will realize that writing is a far more difficult process. Purva Paksha, important element, that as I told you, that if you hate a book, don't burn the book, write a Purva Paksha book, right, which is counter to that book. Or do also the due diligence what other side can tell, right? Let's say if I'm writing the book, what is the Purva Paksha, what the other side will going to attack against that book. So you're already ready, right? So that's also a smart way of thinking. Structure, I already told you. I have a set structure. I do my headings and subheadings and all the research, and then I start writing. So that's on the writing bit. Now, on the publishing part. The two questions are already there, Aparna ji's questions and I think Ankita's question, that what if the bigger publishers don't take my manuscript? So normally the process is you write your book, right? And you submit the manuscript publishing, right? So the process is you write your book and then you submit to a publisher. He or she, the publisher person, will say yes or no. If it's a yes, it goes to publishing, then it go to bookshelf, Amazon, everywhere, right? Now answering everything sequentially, right? And you can be in the different stages of your writing career. If I say writing as a career, so writing can be a career, writing can be a hobby, right? I'm considering writing as a career. If you're a new author, everything is almost own. Publisher will not fund you, right? You have to spend your own money. It's almost, see, book is nothing but if I detach myself, right? If I can use the market terminology, what is it? It's a product. It's available on Amazon like any other product, right? And if I'm a startup owner, I'll raise money somehow, right? I'm sure you understand all this now, angel investing, VC funds, round one funding, seed funding. So this is, I need a seed funding or angel fund to start writing. These are like initial funds, seed fund when the seed is growing, or angel fund when an angel comes and give me money. Right? These are the connotation of these two terms, right? So you need some angel fund, or which will largely come from parents or friends and families, right? For a new author. But for a renowned author, you can sign a book, you can give a concept, I'm going to write about this book. Do you want to publish it? He'll say, okay, I'll give you a writing advance, which will be adjusted towards your future royalties, right? So you do get writing advances also. So these are the two things. And there are a lot of writing helps also. So Indic Academy helps do a scholarship on writing. Indic Academy, you must have heard this name, run by Mr. Hari. He's a Telugu guy living in Hyderabad and Singapore. He helps a lot of authors to write. In India, NBT, National Book Trust, does a lot of writing scholarships. And you have to apply, you do some sample, right? And there are some other spaces, right, where there are writing scholarship. I'm not sure TSPP also does something of that sort. I'm not exactly sure, but again, find a group which gives some kind of scholarship, helps, handhold you in monetary terms or guidance term for writing. So these are your help points, right? Now Ankita asked me that if I give it to a publisher, if he or she rejects, which is in fact, Ankita, there is more probability of that, right? And the probability of they accepting a new time author is like a far more lesser probability. What you do then? Couple of years back, around a decade back, you could not have done nothing, right? You could have searched a lesser known publisher or a lesser known publisher or a totally lesser known publisher, right? But because you want to say anyway, the book should come out first, right? We'll see. Because see, why you need a publisher? You need a publisher for 2-3 reasons. One, a bigger publisher will carry a bigger weight also. Oh my God, he published through Harper, he published through Penguin. Mean that's also like a certification of your content itself, because they will not publish anything, right? It's almost like any brand, right? If your stuff is available in Walmart or to any other very prestigious store, right? The product value changes, right? Where your book or your product is lying, right? So I think that's the first differentiator. Second differentiator, which you cannot do yourself, is the distribution of the book. How will you put it on Amazon? How will you put it in your bookstores, various bookstores? How will you put in multiple libraries of the world? How will you put in multiple catalogs of the world, right? Will it go to Apple Books or Google Books? How will it go all of that? You don't understand all of this, right? So you need a publisher who is doing it anyway for a lot of books, right? Let's say you don't get a publisher. Today you have something called self-publishing, which is like in Hindi, Ramayana for everything. Self-publishing is a kind of a misnomer. You're not publishing yourself, but I don't know why the term is called self-publishing, but it's called self-publishing. So that's the term. I have not put the term, but I don't like the term because it doesn't represent what it does. So you still go to a company, you don't self-publish, right? So in India, there's a very famous self-publishing company called Notion Press. I'm sure you guys are making notes. Notion Press, you go to Notion website, they have a free package. You can publish for free on Amazon. Like within 10 days, your book will be on Amazon. In free publishing, only thing, the effort will be yours. You have to write, you have to create a PDF, like a proper PDF, page number wise. You have to create a cover, everything as per their norm, and you have to upload the PDF based on their norm, size, everything. And it will reject that, no, your format is not fine, this is the error. And after multiple iteration, you'll put they have packages also that they will help you in page making. They will help you in cover. They will put your book in stores also. Based on that, the package increases, right? Based on 50,000 to a lakh or so, right? But there is free option also. That's a very golden thing. So you have to do some of your DTP effort, some of your designing effort. But after that, you have to create an account on Notion Press, and they will put your book free of cost on. So self-publishing, I'm sure you got to know why I'm saying that this term is misnomer. This is not self-publishing. Right? Some companies anyway publishing it, right? But this is for some reason called self-publishing. The advantage in self-publishing is, first of all, you can publish it because otherwise your publisher is anyway said no to you, right? And second thing, you will get higher percentage of royalty. In a book like this, like a published through a Bloomsbury or a Penguin, you hardly get 10 to 15% of the print price as an author. Sounds quite shocking, right? So if you buy a book of mine which is 500 rupees, I will only get 50 rupees. Rest all money, retailers, shopkeepers, the publishers. So 90% of the money is taken by someone who's not authored the book, right? Sounds a little shocking, right? You will think like, oh, I'm the author, I'm the creator of the book, I should get the major portion, but the author will get only 10% maximum. If you become a very good author, very famous author, you'll get 15%, right? But in self-publishing, like a Notion Press thing, you get 35%, 50%, right? So that's the difference. Right.
So then, of course, I think the next item was marketing and self-publishing versus an established publisher. Obviously,
Yeah,
as a trade-off from the reach your product would have.
yeah.
So
Let me
that's
just touch.
something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
let me just touch these points on the
Mm,
publishing part: book proposal, buyback, self-publishing, publishing agent. Self-publishing, I already told you. Whenever you approach a publisher, you don't give the whole manuscript. There are multiple reasons. Nobody will read your full manuscript, and what if they steal it, right? Any big publisher will not do that, but even then, right? Because finally, end of the day, it's some employee's email box it's going to, right? What if he churaos some content here and there? So what you do, you make a book proposal, which has 4 or 5 sections. First, about the title of the book, the proposed title of the book, the kind of the preface of the book, like what is the book about, maybe the chapter names, right? About the author, sometimes one chapter, like if you have 15 chapter, one chapter, and also some of you, in fact, a lot of publishers have their own book proposal formats, but largely they have their point. Last point is why your book will be a success in the market, like why someone will buy. And you have to tell, do you have existing competition in the market? Like, have a lot of 1,000 people have already written Yogi Adityanath's biography, right? Or a similar biography, right? So these are the 4 or 5 sections. You create a book proposal and then send it to the publisher. You will say, how will I get to the email IDs? I think you have to find the which genre you're writing, which are the famous publication for that genre, right? You'll how will I get to know that? You have to do a lot of like searching around internet, Amazon, which are the best ranking books, talk to people like me, other authors, all of that. You have to find which publisher, how to contact the contact. People like me can give you contact. If you don't know people like me in your genre, you find their names in LinkedIn, become friends with them on social media, and then bug them to give their email IDs. And normally you get to know within an effort of 1 month, you can get to know email ID or access or phone number of the person, right? Lot of there is something called a buyback that publishers can ask you money also to publish their book. Your content. So first of all, they will see is your content is publishable or not. It should not be your content is good, but you are not established one. See, for them, end of the day is a business. They're not publishing good content or bad content. They have to make money out of it, right? Which is very fair. So they'll say, okay, do you take a guarantee of buying at least 1,000 books? I'll print 2,000 books. I'll put 1,000 in the market on Amazon and bookstores, but 1,000 you buy yourself and distribute among your friends and your events, so that I will at least get the printing cost, right? Which is also fair. So for not a lot of new authors, this buyback is also an option. There is something called publishing agents. So there are a lot of people. If you see this term called publishing agent on LinkedIn, you'll find a lot of people in different countries, right? So publishing agent basically make book proposal for you and represent you in the offices of different publishers. So they charge an upfront fee sometime, or they charge a share in whenever you get the royalty. That's a better engagement, because upfront you're not paying anything. If you are making maybe X number of rupees in that engagement, you will give 10-15. They charge normally 10-15% of your royalty, which is not a lot of money. So publishing agent is also a good thing to take a help from, right? Now comes marketing. Right, this is my picture in the Jaipur Literature Festival, one of the very famous literature festivals in the world, not only India. You will think why I should market my book. Let's say you got a decent publisher also. I'll talk about when you don't have a publisher, big publisher, or you're self-publishing. I'm first considering if you have a decent publisher also. See, it's your baby, you created it, you have to market it. You will say, why not publisher? Publisher will also market it, but for a mid-size or to a big publisher, they publish somewhere between 150 to 300 books a year. How many? Almost 300 books a year. So your book will only get 300 by 365 days of attention. There are only 365 days, and working days are hardly 250, 300. So your book is worth only 1 day's attention, right? I'm sure based on the popular books more or less, but on an average, right? So, so their attention will be distributed among all the books they publishes. So they will put 1 or 2 social media posts. They may organize 1 or 2 events here and there, right? But it is your baby. You have to push them to, and if your book is doing very good, they will also market it, because they're also earning money through your book, right? But initially, you have to make sure through social media these days, through photo opportunity with big people, famous people in that genre, you can give the book, click a picture, put it on your Facebook, Insta with the Amazon link. You try to go to smaller literature festival, bigger literature festival. You find their email ID and say, this book is doing very good. Why don't you call me as a speaker? Or you ask your publisher to send your candidature in the literature festivals. Do a lot of book sessions. Invite your friends and family, invite your college mates, invite your club mates, or different organization attached to the topic. Do book sessions. You will get an audience. You take a picture, put it on Facebook, all of that, right? Bookshop visits, wherever your book is available, go to the bookshop, sign your books, ask the book fellow, why don't you keep my book in the prominent position, right? Create a rapport. Now, by the time I've written 10 books, I know the owners, a lot of bookshop owners in Delhi, NCR, at least, and even multiple other bookstores around India, right? Over years, right? Try to visit bookshops early. Try to create a trailer or a jingle around the book, right? Like we do a movie. So you do all typical things that we do to market anything in life, right? So that all the things, you can put a hoarding, you can put a newspaper ad, whatever you can afford, right? But even if you are published by a big publisher, keep some budget or resources or help ready for marketing the book, right? Because it's your book. And I think after 1, 2, 3 bestseller books, then I think it will become an automatic pull, right? That okay, if this person has written a new book, oh, this has to be given a reading, right? And then you're author already, then start signing the books.
So,
Book signing, literature festival, college fest. Yeah.
In distinction between self-published versus a well-known publisher, what I heard you say was both will require your own marketing effort.
In self-publishing, quite a lot, right?
Yeah.
Because in self-publishing, your book is largely on internet. It's not available in the bookshops, right? Now Notion Print keeps some of its bestseller books on internet on bookshops also. See, this bookstore also buy shelf space. They sell shelf space. So only the bigger booksellers can buy those, bigger publishers can buy those bookshelf spaces, right? Or a prominent place in the bookshelf, right? So if a book becomes popular, anyway it comes to the bookshelf. But again, it's largely online. If you're self-publishing and using the Amazon link, you can do various marketing. In fact, Amazon platform itself providing marketing facilities. You must have seen whenever you buy some item, it says you may also buy. Have you seen that Amazon? So these are all ad-based, right?
Right.
So let's say if someone is buying a BJP book or a Uttar Pradesh book, they may suggest my book because it's connected to. I have to find keywords on this keyword. Show my book also. So you can do Amazon marketing, you can do Google SEO marketing, you can do Facebook marketing, Insta marketing, make reels. You go to podcast, you go to literature festival. These are the various ways of marketing your book, making people know about that you have written this content. Yeah.
So what you're saying is over the years now, self-publishing has become a legitimate option to
very
well-established publishers.
Yeah.
And nevertheless, the case for a book must be made to yourself before you start investing, and a lot of investment is needed, time investment and other resources in putting together a book. Therefore, it should be very well thought idea that you feel very strongly about.
Yeah, completely makes sense. You summarized it very well.
Excellent. So I'm going to wrap up the formal component of this session and open up for general questions and discussions. So thank you so much, Shantanu Ji. It was wonderful to have you. And we'll wrap up the formal session at this point. Thank you for tuning in. Do visit us on the Saraswati Sangam website for more information, and check us out on our YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support.